Thank Mikey Miss for jumping in with us. Eddie Kratz going to join us in about 25 minutes or so. So you want to stick around for that. I did want to run this by you, John. Last night you were good enough to come on my CBS Sports Radio show. And then I had a guest later on in the program where I learned something about an Eagle player that I never knew before, had never heard before. Butch Jones. Recognize the coach's name?
Yes.
College football coach,
yeah.
Bunch of different universities, Central Michigan, Tennessee. Right now he's at Arkansas State trying to rebuild that program. Got his work cut out for him with the Red Wolves. I think they were 3-9 last year. But he's been a pretty impressive college football coach for the past 15, 20 years. Well, he was the head coach. He took the head coaching job at the University of Cincinnati in 2010 after tremendous success at Central Michigan. They offered him the Cincinnati job. He took it. And that was Jason Kelce's senior year at Cincinnati. And he told us this tale last night that shortly after he got there at Cincinnati, he's got a knock on his office door, and in walks Jason Kelce, and he says, "Coach, I'm not sure I'm going to be big enough to play in the National Football League, and I want to play in the National Football League. So I really want to think about changing to linebacker." And the coach had watched film on Jason, was just getting to know him, hadn't coached him before, knew that he was a real respected guy in the locker room, but knew that he needed him on the offensive line. He just looked at him and said, "Yeah, not happening. Jason, we're going to help you put on those 10 or 15 pounds. You're going to need to play center in the National Football. We got complete faith in you that that's going to be the case. No, you won't be switching to linebacker. You're our center. You're staying at center. We believe we can make you into an NFL center, help you get there. Yeah, you're not going to be moving." Can you see Kelce playing linebacker? He really suggested that to his coach in his senior years because he was so desperate to get to the NFL, and he was about 268, 270, certainly undersized for an NFL offensive lineman. He was a center. He actually asked the coach if he could switch to linebacker, and Butch Jones said, "No, that's not happening."
Well, yeah, good for Butch. No, it doesn't surprise me because Jason, for those who don't know, played running back and linebacker in high school. So that was his background. And I don't think anybody, Jason was a 6th-round pick, 280 pounds, undersized. Nobody saw this one coming. And the story and even today's undersized. It's ironic you bring that up because that was what I watched 0 minutes of the Pro Bowl games, activity, whatever the hell it is. But I saw some things on Twitter, clips and things like that. And one of the clips was Max Crosby talking. I believe it was your guy, Quinnen Williams. I believe. I'm not positive. It was definitely Max Crosby. And they were just gooping around and saying, what offensive lineman would make the best running back? And they said Jason Kelce. Athletic, gets down the field, makes sense from that perspective. But yeah, doesn't surprise me at all. That's what he played in high school, Cleveland Heights High School. It's like Travis was an option quarterback. They're very athletic for people people know it about Travis. Offensive line, they know it about Jason, maybe the most athletic offensive lineman. But yeah, that's just history. Linebackers is history.
And Coach Jones did say there was at least one NFL team that after his senior season was over, before the draft, did come in and say, "Can we see Jason take a couple snaps as a fullback?" That they did, even though he had never played fullback in Cincinnati. They were thinking about drafting him as a multi-positional guy and maybe a short yardage goal line type fullback. So they did actually work Jason out at fullback prior to the draft. And the thing about Coach Jones and the Kelces, that senior season for Jason, his brother didn't play. Travis was suspended. Marijuana. No, it's not officially stated that, but he was suspended for drug use.
You could say it.
Yeah, like I said, most people know that it was marijuana, but he missed the entire season Coach came in, had to suspend him immediately, and they said, "Here's the deal: we're keeping the scholarship in place, but you have to get a 3.0 grade point average. Otherwise, the scholarship for next year, which would have been 2011, would be rescinded." And sure enough, Travis got a 3.2, which he said, "Coach, I'd never got a 3.2 in my life before." And he said, Jason just rode him the whole year. Even though he wasn't part of the team, Jason had to take care of his own business as the center, trying to get ready for the NFL draft. He said he stayed on his brother the entire time, and that's why he did get the grades, and that's why he was able to come back and have 2 more very good seasons and make himself into an NFL player. But he said he got 3.2, and he said, I would have bet against it. But he did the work. He got it done. And he's told another great story about 2011 after Jason had left. They brought in a group that works on team bonding and group mentality and stuff like that. They hire from outside to work with the military, as a matter of fact. And they brought them in specifically before the season started to work with their players. And they put them through drills and ask them certain questions and make them do activities. And then at the end of it, they meet with the coaching staff after they've worked with the players for several days. And they tell the coaching staff who the best leader on the team is. And they all got in a room and they said, Coach, the best leader on your team is Travis Kelce. People follow him. People believe he's the guy who they're going to rally around. And he goes, wait a minute, the kid was on a drug suspension last year. He can't be the leader of my team. They said, Coach, listen, we're telling you, we interacted with these kids for 2 days. Travis Kelce is the guy who's got the pull in that locker room right now. So I said, Coach, this was 2011. After 2010, when Jason left, right? He said, oh, yeah, Jason was gone by then because Jason was the leader of the team in 2010. 2011, it was Travis. Yeah, the Kelces are just those take charge kind of guys. And they will be in this upcoming Johnny Mac.
And anybody who has seen their podcast, they're entertaining guys. They're, they get along with people. Last week in the locker room, I was talking to Jason for like 20 minutes. We weren't talking about football. We were talking, he's going to have his 3rd daughter very soon. In fact, his wife is going to be bringing a doctor to the Super Bowl with her. That's how close it is. Yeah, he just engages people. He's a people person. Travis, I don't know as well, obviously, because he's not here, but you can see his personality. I mean, he's just popular. And they both sort of have that it factor. Now, in football, it helps when you're really, really good as well. And they have, the irony of 2 brothers playing each other for the first time in Super Bowl is weird enough. The fact that they're both Hall of Famers, future Hall of Famers, unbelievable. Think about the odds of that. Yeah, quite the story, the Kelce brothers.
It surely is. So Jason was certainly asked about this week, and I believe he was truthful, but I don't know if he's truthful. He said the outcome of Super Bowl 57 will not be the determining factor as to whether he's coming back as a Philadelphia Eagle next year. That he will make that decision after all is said and done. And Jason has waited on it when Eagles have had to wait patiently, Eagle fans with him as he makes his decision. He's been doing this I could retire thing for about 5 years now. So he will go through the same process again. You believe him when he says win or lose Super Bowl, not going to have a major effect at all on whether he's going to come back and play in 2023?
I believe him in the moment. Because that's what it always is. I've been through this enough with Jason to know. Like, he told his close friends on the team, Lane Johnson let the cat out of the bag, probably shouldn't have, that this was going to be his last year. But that's what he thought back before the season started. When the season ends, you always get the feeling like Jason's not coming back, because he's banged up and you go through this grind. And he said he'd already be retired if Nick Sirianni didn't come in and change the practice schedule, even though it's not Nick, it's the team. But even Doug Peterson's, like, forget about Andy Reid. Even Doug Peterson's more physical practices and training camps and things like that became too much for him as he went on in his career. And he said if that were still the system set up, he'd already be retired. So the way they scale back and maintenance days and all that has helped him. Um, you know, speaking up, when I was talking to him, one of the things we did talk about was he's relatively healthy. And he said, I seem healthy, but that doesn't mean he's banged up like everybody else. It's a grind to get through these seasons, especially for offensive linemen. So he always gets to this point, whenever this point is, the last game of the season. This, in the case of the Super Bowl, obviously win or lose, it's still the last game of the season. I always get the feeling at that moment, Jason's like, I'm done. But then he goes home and he heals up and he starts to miss it. And he loves the locker room. He loves the camaraderie. He loves the cafeteria at the NovaCare complex. And he wants to come back. So I think it happens every year. And until he does it, you got to wait and see. But I think in the moment he was telling the truth, because I think he already made the decision this was his last year again before the season started. What he's thinking of in April could be completely different.
Right. That Brady guy retired, and then he thought about it. He said, I'll come back and play again. So certainly Kelce could do the same exact thing. And I'll give you a hot take. And do I know this? I have absolutely no idea, but it kind of lines up. So at least I'll put it out there as a possibility. One of the individuals who might be key in talking Jason Kelce into playing another year would be his brother Travis, because if the Eagles can beat the Kansas City Chiefs this week and Jason decides, all right, I'm getting away, getting out on top, a guy like Travis could go, hey, best 2 out of 3. All right, you got us this time, but we're going back again next year. Don't know about you and your buddy Eagles there, but we're going to be back in the Super Bowl again next year. So if you want to give me another shot at you, brother, I'd certainly like to take it. You think Travis tries to talk him into staying in the National Football League?
No, I think their relationship is, solid, and he just wishes the best for his brother and vice versa.
Yeah, but there's trash talking back and forth between.
Oh yeah, I mean, the whole thing about his mom is hilarious, and that Jason thinks his mom's rooting for Travis because he's the baby, and his mom said, Jason's the one that gave me the grandkids. Travis hasn't yet. So, the whole thing, obviously, it's a very competitive family, but I don't think that kind of thing will have an effect on it. He told a story about I forget who gave him the advice. It might have been Howard Mudd. He said, if you're questioning something, don't do it. And that can work both ways. And if you're questioning retirement, don't do it. If you're questioning playing, don't do it. I think it's really as simple as that for him. And when he gets to that point, he gets to that point.
No,
But he did say, Jody, I can't imagine not wanting to play football. And Jeff Stoutland said, it'll come. I don't know when, but it'll come.
I thank you for segueing into the next thing I was going to bring up. The only truly real hard news that came out of the Eagles last 24, 48 hours is the fact that the best positional coach in the National Football League is staying put. The Eagles came to a contract extension with Jeff Stoutland to stay as their offensive line coach and running game coordinator, that there were teams that were inquiring about potentially hiring him as their overall offensive coordinator. and the Eagles put a kibosh on that by extending Stoutland. He has been in Philadelphia for a decade now, and his heiress runs over 3 different coaches, which tells you how highly respected he is. New coaches come in and go, oh, yeah, we'll keep Stoutland as the offensive line coach. How big a piece of the puzzle going forward is that for the Eagles, Johnny Mac?
Well, it's huge. I mean, he's one of the best, certainly, assistant coaches in the NFL. You've seen the success, the fact that they've convinced him to stay through 3 coaches now. Tells you how much the Eagles really lean on Jeff Stoutland. And it's just, I don't know about that offensive coordinator stuff. I have not seen one report, one request. But that's the NFL's fault because Jeff's 60. They should be looking at him, but you know how that works with this league. So I don't know about that kind of stuff about, teams, but they damn well were sniffing around him to be an offensive line coach and a run game coordinator. Now, the Eagles have the luxury of knowing, and Jeff has told this story many times. He almost went back to Alabama when Doug Peterson got fired. And his wife was like, I'm not leaving. So, his wife was a big part of him staying in the ship to Nick Sirianni as well. So that's part of it. He doesn't want to be an offensive coordinator. Pete fell in love with coaching the offensive line years ago when he was in college. And then he got to be the interim head coach in Miami. For a bowl game, I think it was. And he's like, I don't even want to do this. He just likes coaching the offensive line. But there's another aspect of his job that is really key, and that's run game coordinator. I think people think that's sort of one of those Cheers made up titles. That's not a made up title. He puts together the Eagles run scheme. And Nick Sirianni has said there's like 5 people in the world that can do it at his level. And there's a big difference. And he compared it to superstar quarterbacks. You can call a quarterback a starter. You can call somebody a run game coordinator, but they can't do it at his level. And the Eagles know that. So it's very important.
And you might not believe that there was a team actually asking him to come in and be their offensive coordinator. And you might be right. And Stoutland may have no desire to become a team's offensive coordinator. You might be right about that. His agent did a good enough job of putting some whispers out there.
Well, the problem
that could happen just to get Howie off his stuff and go, hey, and that extension needs to get done. That extension needs to get done. Now he needs to be one of the highest paid positional coaches in the National Football League. And he got the job done. So I don't even know who his agent is, but I tip my hat to Jeff Stoutland's agent.
Well, the problem is, and why you have to request interviews for people, and that becomes public, even though the NFL doesn't, through the Tom Pelisseros, the Mike Garapolos of the world who work for the NFL, they get that information. So ultimately, all those requests get publicized, and I haven't seen a request. Now, Howie knows that too, but that's just to make him look good to the public. Bottom line is the Eagles have tremendous, tremendous respect for Jeff Stoutland. And as I said, that's more an indictment of the NFL and people in these other organizations who are so close-minded. They should be looking at him. And I don't even know if he'd listen. I don't think he would listen because I don't think he wants to move away from coaching the offensive line. But the Eagles knew all that. He was never leaving, but it was interesting timing.
Right. And I guarantee you, again, his agent told him, even if the wife is laid down the law again, you're not leaving Philadelphia. We're going to keep that on the hush hush, okay? Let me do my job. Let me play the game. Let me see if we can get this contract extension done at numbers we like. I guarantee you that. Without having been behind closed doors down at the NovaCare complex, I'm telling you that's exactly how it came down over the last week or two. John McMullen, I'm Jody McDonald. We are Mac and Mac Birds 365. We're getting Ed Kratz up here on Monday. Eddie doesn't usually do Mondays. Chris Franklin is usually our Monday guy, but he's all hell out in Arizona already. Ed's not leaving till tomorrow, so we're going to get Eddie K before he gets to Arizona. So a special Monday appearance of Ed Kratz.